Hello, my name is Diego Rodriguez, and this is for Intercultural Communications response video 2 for chapter 3. And there are 3 questions I'm going to be answering. The first one is define white privilege. The second one is what constitutes white identity. And the third one is discuss your relationship to white privilege and whiteness. How have you experienced it, either as an advantage / benefit and / or a lack of advantage? White privilege to me would have to mean that someone who is of Caucasian descent in America, not so much around the world, in America, they have an advantage in the world just because of the color of their skin. And there are some people who do think that way, and there aren't some people that don't think that way. So, like, for an example, would be that white privilege would be if a white man gets pulled over in the middle of the night and the cop is white, he 9 times out of 10, or not even that, he could get out of that ticket. But if a African American man or an African American woman or a any other race, Hispanic, Asian, African, they would not get out as likely. They have a weird advantage in the world. What constitutes as white identity? Really, I'm kind of puzzled by this question, because white identity, that can mean a bunch of things. Be like, okay, where you're from, like where's your family originate from? So, my roommate, he is Irish and Polish, and he identifies himself as white. And for me, as someone who's mixed, I look at my past or like my ancestors, and I say that I am mixed. I'm not one nor the other. I'm both. So I would be mixed. But for white identity, I think that just kind of relates to where you're from, where your ancestors originate from, and where that is. And the last question, discuss your relationship to white privilege and whiteness. How have you experienced it, either as an advantage, benefit, and / or lack of advantage? My relationship with white privilege is very on and off, because I have friends who are Caucasian and they don't have the white privilege, but I have been around people who seem to have white privilege. How I've experienced it, this one's a story. When I was younger, I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood, and I had friends in the neighborhood, and they all got around to go play airsoft. And my friend had a bunch of airsoft guns, and we would like have miniature wars in between the streets or like in our backyard. One day, one of my friends asked, "Hey, let's just play on the street. It's gonna be okay." I was a little bit skeptical at first, but they convinced me to go along and do it. And me and my friends play, but I wore shorts at the time, so they told me to go change, so I switched to some long, sweatpants. And I also wear long sleeves, and they gave me a mask. So we play for about 15 minutes until I see a lady, I'm walking by and I see a lady, one of the houses, on the phone, and she looks very concerned. And I looked over at her, and she like shuts the window or shuts the blinds, and then she runs away. Me and my friends are playing, and then all of a sudden, cops pull up. And what ends up happening is we all turn around, and the cop pulls out his gun and he points it at me. Not my other friends who were just the same height, who were wearing the exact same thing, who were doing all this other stuff. They pointed at me because I'm mixed. I'm black and Hispanic. They pointed it at me. And they're privileged enough to never have to ever go through that. Thankfully, my friends kind of bailed me out. Like, no, we were playing airsoft. Look at the tip of the gun. It's orange. Look at the tip of the gun. It's orange. But because I have a different skin color, they're privileged enough to not go through that. Or some of my friends, their parents have bought them brand new cars, and me and some of my longest time friends, we have had to work for our cars. Years of us doing fast food jobs, or working with a company or something like that, and we'd work up to get a car, and their car's brand new, 2019, what's it called, Mustang, while me and my friends is still, like in the 2000s. But that's okay. It's just that they're privileged to have that, and they get spoiled to the idea that they are entitled to their things because of what they are. But I also want to say that there are benefits to not having white privilege, because because of that experience I went through, and I'm not privileged, it taught me the worth ethic and other things to apply to my life, saying that the life is not all sunshine and rainbows, that I have to work harder than most people to get what I want, and that is okay. That's not wrong. So I think where I stand in that has been beneficial to me personally. Also, I think in a sense, I wanted to talk about this, that we all are kind of privileged when it comes down to it. So, like, white people are privileged in that sense. Hispanics are privileged because they are taught, worth ethic. That's a privilege to learn that, because a lot of parents that I've seen have personally given this stuff to their child. But from a Hispanic perspective and an African American perspective, I had to work, and that's very privileging to me. So yeah, this is my video response. Thank you, and I can't wait for the next one.